What's up, AfterBuzzers? It's your favorite time of week. I love this time of week, and also I matched the microphone.
You do.
But either way, we're here to talk about This Is Us. It's episode 6, The Club, and we're talking all about golf game, and we're talking about Toby and Kate, and Kevin and Cassidy. You won't want to miss any of it, so stay tuned.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, AfterBuzz.
Hey,
are we gonna do our song again this week?
Hey, this is us. Hey, this is us. Hey, in the studio. Hey, beautiful. Hey, this is us. Come on.
Surely this is our favorite part of last week, was all of our dance moves. They're pretty sick. I like them. I think we should start a dance troupe, the four of us. Instead of This Is Us after show, it's going to be the This Is Us dance troupe.
Room allows.
And rock game. Yeah, exactly. Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks so much for joining us this week for episode 6. It's 6 weeks already, guys.
Woo! We're going through quick.
And this episode was really, really good. I loved it.
Yes.
I'm ready to dive in. But before we dive in, we obviously want to introduce you to our lovely panel. My name is Candice Cruz, and I'm joined by the man. I said I was going to say this off air, and I'm actually going to do it. The one that looks like Superman over here, Mr. Danny Royce.
What's good, everybody? This is a change of pace from The Purge, where I was just on. But, I'm getting in my This Is Us mode, so it's great to be with you ladies again. Let's go.
And the lady, Miss Parris Rose of your show name.
The Unpopular Opinion.
The Unpopular Opinion, but we love her opinions. They're never unpopular on the show. Thank you very much. And the Queen of After Shows. She's on all of your favorites, including Grey's Anatomy. And This Is Us, Miss Haley Gray.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we will be in the live chat. We see several of you already in there. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to talk about this episode with you.
All right. Well, we're going to dive in. We're going to break it down by the golf games. And there were 3 golf games, if you counted in this episode. We're going to talk about all 3 because they're very important to this episode. And we're going to talk about Toby and Kate and rekindling the love life and Kevin and Cassidy's love life.
Yep.
Just
Called
say
it.
Say
Called
we
it.
called it.
Got it.
But what's everybody's overall thoughts of the episode?
Okay, well,
Lots of thoughts going on right now.
I really enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed seeing the reality of Toby and Kate, Kevin and Cassidy finally coming into that little thing that we knew was growing from the beginning. Yes, and the golf games. There was so many like small lessons being learned for the 3 golf games. I'm excited to get into it, but overall, I thought it was a great episode.
I was quiet because I thought it was a good episode, but I have to admit I was a little bored. Although it was good. I mean, it was a This Is Us episode. It was real life. It's just I was like, oh well, nothing happens. Nothing really big happens. But I will say that I loved Randall's story. I felt it was very relatable. Him being the black son with the white family. They needed to address that at some point. So I'm glad they're starting to get into it.
Yeah, that's how I felt the same way. This episode just gave me warm fuzzies inside.
Exactly.
It made me feel good. It didn't really make me tear up or anything, and I think that they're really setting us up for something big that's about to happen because this is back-to-back weeks now. We're really tapping into Randall, and obviously going into next week, what we saw as the previews, it's going to be even more Randall, so we're getting a lot of Randall, and I'm here for it.
I mean, I love Randall so
Let's do
much.
it.
But I will say, and nobody come for me on this one, golf isn't the most entertaining game to watch,
It's
y'all.
not.
So that being said, but I
really
do feel like what you said of all the pertinent information and the lessons, I feel like there are a lot of lessons and a lot of meetings that are taken on the golf course.
Agreed.
A lot of meetings.
A lot of meetings.
deals. Yeah.
Networking opportunity.
Because there's so much time.
Majority of the things that happen that are like big deals are settled over the golf course. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. You're correct.
I need to start working on my golf swing.
Yes,
but
you do.
either way.
Let's do it together.
Well, yes, I like that. We'll just do a This Is Us golf team. So let's talk about Jack's time on the golf course, because I feel like his was an overarching reason that trickled down into both young Randall and older Randall's situation on the golf course, because we obviously saw in previous episodes that Jack had a divide between Rebecca's father and himself. I feel like that was escalated. What do you guys think about the whole interaction on the golf course, even leading up to like buying the clothes
Right.
at the country club.
It's just a lot. I mean, Jack is one of those guys where he's independent. He likes to kind of, roll to the beat of his own drum. But it would be different if Rebecca's dad did it for a passionate reason. He's doing it because he doesn't trust him enough with his daughter, and he needs to oversee this somehow. That's why he hooked him up with the job, interview and all that stuff. So. I don't like Rebecca's dad. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think that the whole time I kept trying to figure out, like, what is his motive? What is he trying to get out of all these interactions, buying him clothes and inviting him to golf, and like, what is he really trying to do? And then it became very evident, and especially when he further disclosed what he envisioned for his daughter as far as a marriage and the man, and it's like he has this picture in his mind of who he wants his daughter to be with, and without having Rebecca any say so in who she's going to be with, it's like he has his mind made up and he's trying to morph Jack into being that. And yeah, it was just
essentially being him.
Yeah,
like he wants himself. Yeah.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate, and it's almost like the first time we met.
Unpopular opinion.
It's like the first time we met Rebecca's dad. I get it. He was a little spicy with Jack, but I understood where he was coming from. And I also felt for a long time in this episode that I understood where he was coming from. Yeah. He didn't like Jack from the first meeting, but he gave him another chance. Yeah. And depending on the type of man Jack was, maybe he could have actually used this help. Maybe he could have used this interview and been really grateful for it and could have set him off on a new path. And so if Jack wasn't who Jack is, it could have been a great opportunity for him. And I thought it was at least nice that he offered it and didn't wasn't embarrassed about his daughter's boyfriend.
Right.
Lord, that was trippy.
See, I almost kind of agree with you on that because a little piece of me was like, we know Jack Pearson to be extremely prideful and he's very aware of who he is and where he comes from. And I think in this moment, he was taking all of the gestures by Dave as negatives and him trying to fix him rather than trying to give him an opportunity. Because what I found most ironic about this was Jack ended up wanting to have his own construction company. And this man is giving him an opportunity to do it right then and there, but he turns him down for an interview. Yeah. And it's like later on when we finally saw that this was what Jack wanted to be in and start doing, it was just kind of like, hey, you had this opportunity and you denied it because of your pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys a lot. Regardless of the motives at the end of it all, I think part of it was her dad did not want to bring someone that was below par to his friends.
Hey, I see what you did there.
I actually didn't mean to do that.
I don't think you did.
I really didn't.
Searching for the word there.
Searching for the word. But I think, so part of it was, for his own selfish reasons. Yeah. But and I think he wants to fit Jack into a mold of he obviously sees that Rebecca is going to marry him. Yeah. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spent that much time. If he thought he was a fickle boy or whatever, he'd just be like, cool, great, go along, whatever. I wouldn't have invited you to the golf course. Do your thing. But I think he does see the potential in them, and I don't think he likes certain parts of him. But all I could keep thinking is if he wasn't so damn prideful, then these are amazing opportunities that so many people would kill for. Yeah. All you got to do is swallow the pride for a minute and not think it's going to be ill-intentioned. Yeah. And even if it was ill-intentioned,
just make the most out of it.
Make the most out of it.
Make the most out of it. You seize the opportunity. I totally agree with that. I do believe it was a lot of great gestures from Rebecca's dad, but it's the little jabs are unnecessary, and that's what really pulls, I think, Jack out of it. He's like, there's hope for you yet. What do you really need to say for that stuff? Then that tells me where his motives come from, and he doesn't really accept Jack for who he is. And you need to if he's going to marry your daughter.
And I think it caveats perfectly into, he had to have that lesson in order to give young Randall the lesson that he gave him and set Randall up to success. Because if he wouldn't have had that, mindset, then it would have just been another golf game. It would have been, cool, it was a cool opportunity. But because he realized in hindsight of what he missed out on.
Yeah.
And he even said that to Randall when he was on the golf course. He was like, I missed my shot. I took it for granted, but you can't. Yeah. You have to do this. What did you guys, Parris, you even mentioned at the beginning that the conversations with Randall during this episode really hit home for you.
I loved it because although I was not raised by a white family, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. and definitely felt what Randall was feeling, and also felt the misunderstanding of Jack. He means well, and I know people who are of color mean well when they say they don't see color, but it's Randall's right. You're not seeing a part of me then if you're not seeing my color. What we want is you to see our color and then accept that and move forward. But saying, I don't see color, you're just my son, is like, well, you don't, but I'm a black son, so it's different. So I just fully understood him.
Yeah, definitely. Like you, I was part of my life raised in a predominantly white neighborhood, and I totally related with Randall at that moment. And when you say, not seeing color, I get what people mean. Like they don't let color affect certain things. But you saying that is you're showing your naivety. You're showing that. I don't see there's a difference, because there is a difference, history has proven, and still today. So I just really enjoyed when Jack apologized and he was just open to seeing Randall. I thought that was great.
Do we think that there's maybe, because I kind of got a little bit of vibes of like a little bit of layering, because as young Jack on the golf course the first time couldn't swallow his pride. The second go around, while his son keeps talking about this Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Lawrence, and dropping all these nuggets that he's obviously learning from Mr. Lawrence, instead of Jack, getting angry and up in arms, he ends up extending a hand and an invitation to get to know Mr. Lawrence.
Right.
And so and non-Jack Pearson, like he could have easily said, hey, stop talking to my son, I've got this. But instead, he opens his home up to this man to bring him into it, so that way that he knows the importance of this man in his son's life.
I do like how they realistically, when Jack first met Mr. Lawrence, he felt a little intimidated,
For sure.
a little uneasy, because Randall has someone that he can relate to, that's can be a father figure away from Jack, and so he kind of saw that as a problem, and then but I do like how he just turned it around and was like, okay, let's make this work.
And kudos to Randall, too, for having that conversation with his dad. Because I know from coming, from an interracial family and, being with two different parents of different backgrounds, it's a hard conversation to have with either or when it comes to, you are the product of not only your surroundings, but obviously, yes, he's raised by a white family, but it is a bigger conversation because he is coming to his identity, like Rebecca said. So I think that that's amazing. I apologize. Apparently, my phone is not on mute. It's fixed now. But I think that that's, really good on him that we're finally seeing Randall come of age and get old enough to have his own identity away from, what his family has raised him under.
And I do one thing that young Randall did say. Kudos to what is the actor's name? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on it.
Young Randall?
Yes,
Lonnie.
Chavez. Right. Amazing job in this episode. But something that you said was you felt uncomfortable on a golf course that I would not have been been allowed to be on, and so that spoke volumes, because I think Jack really understood at that point. This is, not too long before that, there was a time where they would, empty out pools when black people get into it because it was infected. So I think that really opened his mind to okay, not only do I have an adoptive son, he's black, and I need to realize that.
Yeah.
And not continue to shield him.
Yes, and not continue to show, because that's only doing more damage.
Yeah. I think Jack was trying to relate as opposed to just listen and understand.
Yeah.
You don't have to relate on everything. I think that was what his issue was.
Yeah.
True.
I love it.
True that.
Well, it goes into the whole, listening and then teaching. And then that led me to, obviously, we fast forward to older Randall and playing the golf game. And I got to say the last shot because it ties in, and then we can talk about the whole, actual game. But I did tear up because he did it for his pops.
It was beautiful.
So sweet.
I absolutely adore the way the writers wrote that part out, because it was so, unique because the whole time, and we kind of talked about this right before we hopped on air, that it was interesting how Randall, like the whole time he kind of had that like sly, I'm up to something, Randall Pearson look on his face. You know, there was like a couple shots where you would catch him looking at the camera, and it would be like whenever he, you know, finally got accepted to go on the golf cart with the councilman and those little things, and it was like he knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those
For
little
them,
things.
yes, for them to then pull it in with us as the viewer at the end of the episode, whenever we see him as young Randall swinging, middle or teenage Randall, and then adult Randall, it's like, he knew what he was doing the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And off of course, Jack's advice, sometimes you have to just continue to play the game. And I was
Right.
like, it's good.
The game of life.
Yep.
You have to play the game.
To get what you want.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think it was smart on his part because it clearly looks like Randall's extremely good at golf.
Right,
Yeah.
of course.
And he doesn't want to show up somebody that he's trying to gain their respect.
Right.
So sometimes you
It
kind of
was
have to hustle a
so
little
smart.
bit.
Swallow your
It was,
pride.
it was very smart.
Yep.
I
So
loved
smart.
it. And now he's going to get that meeting that he's
Yes.
been longing for so long. And I'm just remembering the line, but I really like that Jack even said when he was younger, he was like, you're going to be a very important man, Randall.
Yep.
And you need to know how to play this game.
Yep.
And it
so good.
shows.
So
It was
good.
so good.
Yeah.
And
I didn't catch on though. Did you guys know what he was
Oh, yeah.
doing?
I
the
did
whole
when
time?
he like caught on real quick and he like the congressman was like giving him one lesson and he fixed it real quick. I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If
I
someone
tried
told me
golf.
how to do it, it's not going to fix that
Yes.
quick.
That's so
Don't-
true.
Yes.
The two things that gave it away for me was when he went to go swing and he said, "Just letting you all know that I've only been on the course
One
one
other
other time
time,
in my
yeah.
life." I'm like, okay, you're going. It just seemed like Randall, like overdoing it, making sure everyone knows, and then. When seeing the flashbacks and how good Jack was, I'm like, there's no way that he's not going to teach Randall that.
Yeah.
See, and for me, I was like, I thought it was going to be in like true This Is Us form. Like, oh, that's special. He's only been on the golf course one other time. And that moment of the episode, we thought then it was only the one time he
Yeah.
was with
Yeah.
Jack. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is going to be cute. This is special. But then obviously as I kept going, I agree. I have attempted to play golf. And no matter how many times people tell me things, I cannot play that game.
Yeah.
But what I also found really neat with it being Randall was when the councilman told him sometimes all you have to do is slow things down. And just kind of how that again related to just
him.
all the stuff that Randall goes through, that sometimes he just needs to slow down in order to achieve what he's trying to achieve.
Right.
Yep. And slowing down, we're going to slow it down and tell you guys exactly what's happening at AfterBuzz TV.
Yes, of course we are. We have so many after shows going on
So
here
many.
at AfterBuzz TV. I mean, which ones are you on, Haley? Which ones
I
are you
am on Empire, This Is Us, Grey's Anatomy, and Legacies.
Oh man, and we
She's
got so
the-
many more, like
amazing.
hundreds, and you guys tune in every week, every day, actually watching your favorite shows, and we thank you so much for your support. It would be so great if you're listening on Spotify to give us those 5 stars.
Bye.
Yes, because we deserve it, of course. And if you are watching us on YouTube, give us that thumbs up button. And we just want to thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk.
And
Thanks.
subscribe,
Yes, you do.
please.
Subscribe.
Subscribe,
That
and you
too.
won't get pesky notifications, we
I
promise.
didn't say because I thought they already were.
Hey.
Oh, there you go. They should be.
You should be if
You
you're watching
should
this right
be.
now.
Speaking of which, guys, we even have in the live chat, Armando Williams is watching
Armando.
from Portsmouth, Virginia.
Oh, hey.
That's
You're
super
up late.
cool.
Virginia. Yeah.
Go to bed.
No, keep watching
Oh,
us.
keep watching, then go to bed, okay? Close that loud.
Keep watching us.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, we still have to talk about Toby and Kate's romance or the rekindling of it. Kevin and Cassidy, the romance that we knew was coming. Just saying. We called it. Yes. And then we still
Called it.
have our special segment, the tearjerker moments and news. So continue watching, except for the one in Virginia. You can go to bed. Just kidding.
Stay on with us.
So stay with us. Toby and Kate.
Yeah.
I liked the reality
Yes.
of it because that's a hard. And I've never been in these shoes. I'm sure one day I will be in this situation where I've had a baby and like you're trying to have the romance still alive and like your body's brand new. There's different chemicals and hormones going on in your brain. You're not sleeping, and then like.
And the man has needs.
Yeah, typically for what I,
I mean, so
hear,
does a woman.
yeah.
It's just different needs after you
No,
have a
no,
baby.
they both have the same needs. Ladies, you talk a good game that you don't want sex as much as men, but
No, but it's
you
different.
do.
Women are child.
Child.
Well,
it
yeah, no,
either-
I take the child equation out of it.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah.
yes, of course, she just having a child, like the body is just different. A man will never understand that, but I do understand Toby, where Toby's coming from. You know, you have that, need, and then he's working out now, so his testosterone is just all over the place. So I do agree. I understand where he's coming from.
Clearly, it was, but there were some moments that he wasn't
performing.
doing so well.
This episode just really clashed everything, all the tension that's been building up.
Yeah.
We've known this moment was going to come. And what just I can't look past is the fact that it's not the fact that they are no longer attracted to one another or that they can get it on, but it's the fact that they still are horrible at communication.
Yes.
Yeah, horrible.
It's unbelievable. It's like one of them wants to communicate, the other one shuts down. The other one then wants to communicate, then the other one shuts down. And it's almost, for me, it's frustrating to just watch because it gets to the point that it's like, come on, just have a real conversation with one another. And that's just continued to bother me about Toby and Kate.
That's going to be their demise. But I'll wait till predictions.
Same.
I do think that Toby had a point, though. I think Kate was afraid that she wanted him to gain the weight back, which is why she didn't want him to throw away the pants.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You want to be comfortable, be like,
Yeah.
And I honestly thought, and sorry to cut you off, but I honestly thought that it was a sense of like Toby's he's not attracted to Kate anymore.
I think that's for sure what she was
I think that's what she was feeling and thinking, even though he said he's not, but I think there's an aspect of that. Not necessarily maybe physical, but something that he's not attracted to.
I think Kate's being extremely selfish. And to me, like, I'm sorry. I understand you just had a baby. Fine. All that stuff is correct 100%. I understand. Like, I empathize for you or sympathize for you. But at the end of it all, like, she's uncomfortable in her own skin. This has been a common thread throughout the entire show.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's just like, that has nothing to do with weight. That just comes down to being Kate.
Yes.
Like, I'm not talking about the weight element at this point. I'm talking about her own insecurities as a person. End of story. And to me, by her wanting to make him like gain the weight back or whatever, that's literally just to
terrible.
make her feel better about herself. Like her wanting to turn down the lights, I get all this other stuff, but like her shutting down and the communication, just stop it. Like,
It's horrible.
Do you want to have a relationship with your husband? Like, do you want to talk it out? Like, that's the only way it's going to be fixed. And it just, the whole thing, she bothered me the whole episode.
I agree.
The whole
She
episode.
irritated me in that one part when he asked those valid questions and she didn't respond. I was like, answer him.
Yeah.
And so I was frustrated, but I like that she came back like she normally does.
She does, yeah.
Right.
She acknowledges
But-
she's wrong in a funny way, like they always do. So at least there's that.
But it's always too little too late.
Right. That's
Like,
what
it's
I'm
always like the moment's
Next
done.
time it's going to
like,
be too late.
It happened. And like you said, I don't know if he's not attracted to her anymore. I mean, honestly, I would start falling unattracted because of the
Insecurity?
The
Yeah.
insecurity.
It's not a
like
physical
that.
thing.
It's not a physical thing. Anyone that's insecure makes me question why.
That's
Well, why do I feel for you if you're telling me I shouldn't? Like,
Well, because especially even going back to the very beginning of this episode, they gave us all of the flashbacks of the beginnings of Toby and Kate. And one of the most charming things about Kate is the fact that despite her outward appearance and despite her being internally very insecure, she comes across as very confident.
Right.
Like, she will tell you how she's feeling. She will let you know what's up. She's very aware of her situation and how she looks. And it's always kind of been like she accepted it. She accepted it a long time ago. But it's like now all of a sudden that because Toby's the one that's lost weight, now she's realizing it's more of an issue. It's never been that like her health being in jeopardy like didn't cause her to do anything or didn't make her wake up. But now that she's seeing Toby get real results, I feel like now she's finally like, oh damn.
Yeah, I don't. I think she's always. I don't think she has accepted it. I think she's always had a way of masking it very well.
True.
And that's just something that the Pearsons do. But I think this moment with Toby made her realize that I think she's fearful more so that he'll stop being attracted to her, as she voiced, in this episode.
And maybe not even just attracted to her, but ultimately maybe he's afraid that he will stop loving her.
Right.
Which again we know,
Which
we
that'll
don't
be-
know what. Yeah, we don't know what Kate's exact dating background is. We know we're going to get there.
Yeah.
But these could all be clues that they're dropping for us to allude to the fact that maybe Kate just is worried about being unloved.
Yeah.
And on top of it, I think a lot of women do go through a little bit of that anyway, just after you have a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Like just your chemicals in your brain change and everything else. But, and who's to say that wouldn't have happened if Toby hadn't lost the weight?
Yeah.
There might have been another thing. And that comes down to, like, again, their communication, how strong their foundation is as a couple. So predictions will be interesting for this episode. But moving on to our other couple.
Hey.
Are they a couple?
They might as well
They
be.
might as well be.
Yay.
Sorry, not sorry.
Let's just say
Y'all don't like this. We're here for
I mean,
it.
I like them being a couple. I just don't want them to be endgame.
Well, I'm sorry.
See, everyone, I have stayed firm
You
that
have.
this wasn't going to be a thing. And I have
thing.
I've been team Sophie
Sophie
this
for a
whole
long
time.
time, yeah.
Even to the point Candice and
Thank
we
you.
can attest to the fact that we were watching this episode together, and even after the first kiss, I said, nah.
Still.
It's still, I was
Denial.
Denial, right?
not convinced until the second kiss happened when Kevin kissed Cassidy, and I was like, ah, damn.
I mean, come on, like
There's
the gym
something
gave it
that
away.
happens.
The gym gave it away. He's like, oh, pull-ups. Oh, that's
Impressive.
impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's be honest, he's been impressed with her at other points. And so
Which
that's
all
why I was
build it
like,
up.
okay, whatever. And he's still trying to get with Little Miss Redhead. And so it was just like, whatever. And then when Cassidy kissed him, I was like, oh, this is going to be that awkward rift in the friendship because he's truly trying to keep this platonic. Oh, my brain was still at it. This wasn't a thing. And then when he went back and grabbed her, and I was like, I was wrong.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to take it back to those statements that you guys gave me at the beginning of the season where they said, who you gave me the list that the writers said in the first episode we would see the mother of his child. That's the only woman we saw on that episode.
We just basically
Oh, we
saw it
still don't
happen.
know that though. We still don't know if it's the mother of his child.
What is it gonna be? The diner woman that married Jack? Like, what other woman was in the picture that is not related to the Pearsons?
Right.
Her.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Hopefully, but Sophie's such a cute story. Fine. Hopefully, my mind changes and I really love Cassidy and Kevin's story. But I don't want her to be the mother. That's all.
Here's my thing. I love this for both of them because at this point the riff is there between her and her husband.
Right.
Like it's not coming back.
It's not.
Unfortunately, like it's done because they've both changed as human beings, and the fact that her husband didn't accept the change at the very beginning. Now it's just so much tension, and it's already been built that way. There's no coming back from it.
And then
and
the son, that's gonna cause a rift in the
Yes.
son's communication with the son, and then I'm sure she loves children, and Kevin loves children. I mean, it works.
And again, they always say fall in love with friends, right?
Yes.
And they became friends first,
Exactly.
very strict friends.
Okay, but they also say, like, people in our chat are reminding us that Jess Sheldon says, thought a rule was not to have relationships with another alcoholic.
Yes.
A. B. Obsessed fangirl 1D13 is agreeing with me and Parris, saying, agree it's not endgame, still Team Sophie, thank you. And she also says that if it's Cassidy, I will fight someone. So
Let's
not
go.
there. I'm not
I'm just
there.
kidding.
What's wrong with Cassie? I like Cassie.
I like it.
I
She's
like her.
funny.
I just don't want her and Kevin.
I mean, no, you're not supposed to do that in AA, but clearly they didn't listen to that rule number 1.
True.
Right.
I mean, that's already done. It's a done deal. But,
Right.
I mean, I think that they could be good for each other.
I think so
They
too.
may not be in game, but they're going to have a child
have a-
together.
they
Whether
have
or
a-
not you like it, they are having a child together.
I think they have a cute
They're
relationship.
still pushing it.
They're
know.
dropping too many Easter eggs for us when she's literally like, "What are you? Are you interviewing the mother of your next child?"
Right.
Like he brings a girl back and keeps talking about kids. They have the conversation about kids. She has a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally laying it out, and they're like, "Here's the present."
They really are, and it's very annoying. I'm like, stop this. I don't want to see the signs, but I do see them. Yeah. You're right.
And also, we've watched this show for 4 seasons now. Like, we know the signs that this
Right.
is us.
Yeah.
Anyone else that's watching it for the first time probably wouldn't. But it's true,
Okay,
like,
so then why did they bring back Sophie last week?
Because they have to address the divorce situation.
Right,
He
that's
dropped
true.
the bomb about the divorce.
That's true.
I got you almost.
I know, almost. I was like,
Almost.
wait a second. And also, he kept bringing up Zoe a lot.
Zoe, yeah.
So if we're bringing
Yes.
That's
Sophie back,
something
make sure we're bringing Zoe
No,
back.
I will say that also fed against my prediction of Sophie being back is the fact that instead of saying my ex and referring to Sophie, he referred to Zoe.
Yeah, he's
So I
done
was
with...
like, yeah.
That's why I'm like, he's over something.
Sophie's
Yeah.
door
He
has
moved on.
closed. Like, I don't
Yes.
know if it's closed for Sophie because clearly she was sitting in the bed with her fiance looking at her ring like, do I really want to marry him?
Yeah.
But I think it's closed for Kevin at this point.
Yeah. And also Kevin and Nikki's, that's just so hilarious.
Oh, I love the relationship. It's
The
finally a
relationship.
relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so cute. I love when he got in the refrigerator. He's like, you have fresh cold cuts.
like just casual. Like,
Sorry. I'm just going to walk in. We should have gone on the hike, but we
Yeah,
got
he's
fresh
like, let's go
cold
on the
cuts.
hike. I'm not going on another hike with you.
He's making baby steps. Nikki's definitely making
Yeah.
baby
Oh, yeah.
steps. Even acknowledging that he should have gone on the hike, I think it's a good sign.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Kevin's
and he
been-
liked the photo.
Yes.
Accidentally
He
liked
liked the photo. No, you hearted it. I was
So
like, what?
funny.
Here's my thing. Have either any of you guys ever been like Instagram stalking someone and then accidentally like something like way back?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think
Oh,
everyone
yeah,
is
I
a
think
culprit of
everyone is.
this.
It's horrible. My face is red for like 10 minutes after. It's hot. So I'm just like, oh my god, they knew, they saw.
See, I'm the opposite. I convince myself I'm like, it wasn't on there long enough.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Moving on.
But also, I will use it to my advantage as well if I'm trying to get someone's attention. I will scroll just far enough back and like a photo.
But now we know all of Canada's
Not too
tricks.
far back because then that's creepy.
Yeah.
But like 5 or 6 weeks back, you go back and be like, oh, okay, I like that. I'm going to like that one. And then wait a few minutes.
Have you ever unliked one just to re-like it?
No. No, that's a little too much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you
No,
done that?
I was just thinking
I
about
was
it,
like,
because,
I'm so sorry if I
you
gave
go-
you shade.
No, I'm like, because if you go back and like, what if you liked a photo and you're like, oh, I liked this one then, I'll just unlike it, they'll never know.
No, I've never done that. No.
We're going to have a
Give me the
segment.
option.
So the whole segment about liking and everything.
Yeah, we're going to have led by
Social media with This Is Us.
Exactly.
Haley Graves. I can't.
Question though, do you think that Nikki will like this duo?
Well, with Cassie
I
and
was
Kevin?
just thinking about
Yeah,
this.
because I feel like he relates to Cassidy.
I think he would.
So, and she
Yeah.
has this kind of dry humor. So I think he will like it.
My only fear is him thinking of it as being a negative because I think he views both of them as kind of support for him. And I think he might feel some instability then with both because if something were to happen between them, then there goes
Right.
kind of what he's standing on and using to get better.
And he might feel left out.
Yeah.
I know
might
sometimes
feel left
like,
out.
listen, I'm third wheel a lot. Giving it to myself. But it's sometimes like you do feel a little like, okay, there's a duo and there's something
Yeah.
that's there between these people that like you can hang out, you can enjoy yourself, but at the same time it's not the same as if it's like 3 individual people rather than like 2 and a third. Like
Right.
there's only so much you can make.
True. And
Work.
Nikki could get, by the time he gets used to having Kevin, Cassidy comes along.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like,
changes
oh,
everything.
Okay, yeah.
He gets replaced.
I don't know. Right.
Which he kind of always
No.
has.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Actually,
really
very
sad.
true. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, Nikki.
Guys, that leads me to the perfect moment to have a tearjerker.
Hey.
Hey, go into our tearjerker moments. So for all of you guys that are newbies to the show, welcome. And I'll lay it down for you. It's ranked from 1 to 5. 1 being that's the 5 sound.
It gets me all the
The
time.
sobbing is 5. And then the 1 is if it was like a, oh, warm fuzzies, butterflies, that type of thing. 1 to 5, tearjerker moment. Who wants to start?
You got it. You take it away.
Oh, me?
Oh,
Bring it around this
me?
way. We'll bring it around this way.
1, 2,
What?
3. I actually cried for the first time this entire season.
Wow.
3 this time because it was the last shot where Randall shoots it and he said, "This one's for you, Pops." It was just like, it was so heartwarming
Oh, my mama.
and loving, and I think it just encompassed the entire episode, the journey of the golf tournaments.
Of the club.
Of the club. It was so good.
So, thanks for stealing mine. But that's okay. I'm
It's okay, we
going
can
to
share.
yeah, we can share that one, and I'll also just throw in another one.
Oh, you're gonna one up me. Okay, fine.
No, it's the same type of thing between Randall and Jack when they had the conversation, and Jack was open to understanding where Randall was coming from and open to Mr. Lawrence. So that was a very heartwarming time.
All right. Well, that was mine, but I got another one.
We're stealing over here. You not steal Haley's.
Mine just one then because mine was stolen. But it's just Nikki saying that we should have gone on that hike. It just showed that he's changing, and it was just a really cute moment. He's walking around lighter and more positive.
Oh, yeah.
And so I like that. It's making me smile with Nikki. So
Nice.
And I will pull one. Mine also, Mine also is from the golf tournament, but my moment was it made me feel good and happy inside when the councilman, after them kind of giving Randall such a hard time, and then we see them on the green. Granted, this was all a part of Randall's plan, we soon learned, but regardless the fact that the councilman started opening up to him, offering to give him tips, they could have just continued to make him feel bad, and they chose not to, and so just their evolution of friendship that started on the golf course, that was my moment.
Nice.
Oh, I love that. That was a good round of tearjerker moments.
it was.
Heartwarming.
It was very heartwarming. And now we're going to give it to Haley for our news and gossip before we go into our predictions.
So our news and gossip this week, we just want to give a shout out to Kevin Hartley for doing an amazing job at hosting Ellen.
Wait, Justin
last
Hartley.
week.
Justin Hartley.
I think
Kevin Hartley.
Kevin, wow. Well,
We're just combining the two.
Yes, I didn't even realize I said it. Kevin, who is played by Justin Hartley, hosted Ellen last week. He did an amazing job. Yes. Go check it out. It's on Ellen's Instagram page. There's some clips. It was a really great episode. He did a heck of a job, and it was really fun to see him in that role.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's really cool. All right. Is that it for that?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right.
I'm looking at Parris like, take it, Parris. Take it, Parris. Take it, Parris.
What am I do? I always do that. I always grab the tissues.
Predictions make me cry.
Every week.
My prediction is I actually think that Beth is going. So they meet Malik's parents.
We're throwing Beth in there.
Yes.
I forgot. Wow.
We're throwing Beth. We didn't see her this
Let's throw Beth
episode,
in
so
there.
I'm bringing her back. We see Deja and Malik in the preview for next week's episode, and I think that Beth is going to stick up for Malik. I actually think she's going to like his parents and actually stick up for him, and this relationship might be a cute little budding first love. So yeah,
Nice.
it might be.
Who knows?
I will touch on that as well. I think that a big theme we're seeing even this week was just a very protective dad role. And I think that we're going to continue to see that through next week with Randall. I think he is going to really be firm in his ways about this relationship between Deja and Malik. And I think it's going to get a little uncomfortable for him. But I hope that through maybe Beth, he will soften up to the idea. But I do think that he is going to have a lot of opinions and be very, very overprotective dad about it.
Yes.
I agree on both of those.
I agree.
I'm going to switch it away. I don't think Toby and Kate are going to last much longer, y'all.
That's one. Yep, that was mine.
I don't think so. I think that there's I think by the time that we start going into Jack being like a toddler or a young child, it's going to get even harder because if we've already seen the way that Kate is around Jack and so like just let me control everything. And I understand it's coming from a good-hearted place. She's coming from a mom perspective, but it's almost too overbearing.
Right.
And that's where she's channeling all of her energy because we know how she does is that she focuses on one thing to take her mind off of all the other things that are happening behind her that she can't control. And then she's going to put Toby in the corner and just kind of forget about him. He's going to continue getting more and more buff and like lose his attraction for anything other than the fact that like they're not going to communicate. They're not going to have the love for each other. And we obviously saw in the flash forward, Toby is still involved in the family. Yeah. So I think that that's the type of man that he is. He'll still be there, but I don't think that they're going to last.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be there for Jack. But I think instead of, because that was pretty much my prediction as well, but instead of Kate actually going along with Toby on this journey that he's doing, she's getting she's getting upset because he's kind of leaving her behind. And like you said, I think in the coming up, like she's just going to leave Toby on the back burner. And Toby's the type of guy that, you know, he knows what he deserves. And I think that's going to separate them. So this is not the last we saw of them not having intimate relations.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the beginning of Kevin and Cassidy having intimate relationships.
We go from one to the next.
Yeah. According to Obsessed Fangirl 1D13 in our live chat, who says, I predict Cassidy and Kevin will not end up together. I'm still holding out hope for that to come true. Also, Jess Sheldon wanted to throw in there that Beth and Randall will go on a mini golf date in a future episode.
A mini golf
That's
date.
cute. I like that. That's a cute little date.
Yeah.
I think he'll win, but that's okay.
Right. She'll just dance her way around.
You'll let her
Sure,
win.
let her win.
You'll let her
Yeah,
win.
Sure.
That's true.
Because he's a chivalrous man.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
she would get mad because she could tell that he was letting her win.
Right.
Yep. We already know this whole paying out. They don't even have to go on the date now. We've just figured it out for them. Well,
Let's just write the episode.
just write the episode for them. We should be in the writer's room next
There we
time.
go.
There we go. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We love having you in the live chat and love having you watch every single week. You guys make it so incredible to be a part of this after show. I know you guys communicate with a lot of us via social media, so please continue doing that. Let us know your thoughts, your predictions, comments, all of it. Be sure to like and comment below. My name is Candice Cruz. You can find me on all my social media at Candice R. Cruz.
And my name is Danny Royce. You can find me everywhere at I Am Danny Royce. Also tune in next week for the Purge After Show. Ooh. And next Thursday, season 2 premiere of Inside the Black Actor Studio. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
All right, hey guys, I am Parris Rose. You can find me on Instagram at Parris Rose, Paris with 2 R's.
And last but not least, I am Haley Graves. You can find me on Instagram at Haley Graves. That's HALEYGRAVESS. And on Twitter, Haley1, Graves2. I'm here on Tuesday nights to do Empire. Obviously, This Is Us. And on Thursdays, doing Grey's Anatomy and Legacies.
So watch her on every show on AfterBuzz, guys. And also, happy Halloween! Oh, yeah! Have a safe Halloween. Enjoy it, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Later.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.